The original design was 2 rows of 5 small finishing pens, 10 pens in total, set up back to back. The pens were 2/3 solid cement flooring at the front of the pen and 1/3 slatted flooring at the back of the pen. Dave knocked out the back wall of each pen so that the 2 pens became one, with a section of slatted flooring in the center. He then knocked out a small section of the adjoining side wall over the slats. What was once 4 small pens was now 1 large pen, with the remaining walls breaking the pen up into 4 sections. These new bigger pens are now 16 feet wide by 32 feet deep. The slanted manuring area of the new bigger pens is in the center rather than at the back. Pens now have a solid surface at each end where Dave drops the feed. Sows are weaned into breeding stalls after approximately 20 days of lactation. The sows are bred twice using artificial insemination in the breeding stalls, and they remain there until they're confirmed pregnant with ultrasound 35 days after breeding. Once pregnancy is confirmed, the sows are moved to group housing. There are 2 weeks' worth of farrowings in one pen. To avoid aggressive behavior, Dave doesn't add new sows to the pen. He waits until the pen is emptied and then fills it again with a new group. Dave farrows 13 or 14 sows a week. In each pen there are 2 weeks' worth of sows to farrow. Once the new group of gestating sows is mixed together in a pen, no new sows are added. Dave avoids adding sows to an established group. He states that the established group sows would be very aggressive towards a single sow that was added to the group at a later time. When he removes the 1 week's worth of sows that are ready to farrow, he does not see any problem with aggression among the sows remaining in the pen. It would be very rare that a sow would become injured in the group system. They may have a few scratches over their shoulders when they're first mixed into a new group, and there is some aggression, but this stops in about 2 days. When Dave mixes a new group of gestating sows, he tries to limit the sows' perception that their resources are restricted. By placing extra feed on the pen floor when the sows are mixed into a group, they perceive that feed is plentiful and aggressive behavior is reduced. The design of the pen also helps to reduce aggression. Partition walls divide the feeding floor space into 4 areas. This allows sows to spread out and find other compatible sows to eat with, which decreases aggression. This design also helps to ensure even conditioning among sows, as shy sows can always find a place where they can eat their share of feed. Dave also groups the sows roughly by size within the pen. Gilts and first parity sows are grouped together, and second parity and higher sows are grouped together. Dave feels that this also helps to eliminate aggressive behavior, as sows that are more evenly matched are less likely to exert a lot of energy fighting or competing for food or space within the pen, since the outcome may not be desirable for them. Dave feeds his pigs once a day. He manually drops feed on the solid flooring at one end of the pen, then about 15 seconds later he drops the feed on the solid flooring at the other end of the pen. The 2 solid floor feeding surfaces are separated by the center dunging alley. There are 8 drops per pen, 2 drops at each of the 4 feeding areas. He manually adjusts each one so that the total amount of feed dropped is equal to 2 kilograms per sow. He can change this if he feels a group needs more feed. When the first feed drops, aggressive sows move in and start eating. More timid sows run to the other end of the pen and wait for feed to drop there. A few sows might move from one end to the other, but within a minute or so they settle into 2 groups that accept each other to eat with. There is little aggression in these pens during feeding. Dave does not routinely clean or scrape the pens. He may occasionally have to scrape a pen after a group of gilts or younger sows move out, which tend to have poorer dunging habits. He may remove one sow from the group if he feels that she's not fitting in. This means she may be overly aggressive or very shy. These sows are put into gestation stalls. Dave says it would be very rare that he would have to remove a sow from the pen due to injury. Larger pens make it easier to vaccinate the pigs. He rarely has to treat a sow in a pen, but he does vaccinate the sows in the pens before farrowing. It's a one-person job. Dave says the only change he would make is to switch to natural ventilation instead of the fan ventilation he has now. He likes how bright and quiet it makes the barn. He says he doesn't really notice a difference in production or behavior in sows kept in the gestation stall versus those kept in group housing. He thinks that all the pigs on his farm are quite used to being handled and moved frequently, the downfall of piecing together old and new barns, but because of this they are all quite calm. Dave does think that one big benefit of group gestation housing is that it is much quieter than gestation stalls where sows spend a lot of time banging the bars and are much louder at feeding time. He thinks this makes the group gestation barn more pleasant to work in and is a more relaxed atmosphere for the sows. Converting his old barn to group housing was a cheap and easy fix for Dave. It gave him more sow space, but if he builds in the future or renovates, he says he'll put in enough group housing for all the gestating sows. Reed and Rhonda Wilson and their son Nicholas operate a 500-sow farrow-to-finish operation. Their swine technician Anna Faye Balatok helps to manage the barns. They built a new sow gestation barn with pens that provide each sow with 25 square feet of space. Their average farrowing rate is 86%, with an average of 11.2 live born per litter. There are 125 sows in this barn at the Wilson farm, and another 125 sows in a barn down the road. There are 186 dry sow stalls.
40% of the sows are in loose housing, and 60% are in stalls fed manually with calibrated drops.
Reed built onto this barn in 2004 because they needed more sow space, and they never liked the idea of sow stalls. So Reed decided to try group housing, and he based it upon what he saw at the Arkell Research Station.
These pens are designed with little walls dividing it off. Each sow can have her own little spot to lay. I think if you look behind me, you can see sows laying up against the wall, and when you have 4 walls jutting out around the pen, it creates more protection. The sows feel more protected, and at feeding time it makes it harder for one boss sow if she wants to try and steal all the feed, because she's going to be running into a wall. I think that is one of the biggest reasons this works out so well. And it's also for laying down. It divides it up.
The pens are set up for liquid manure with slats at the back of the pens. About 1/3 of the pen is slatted floor, 2/3 is solid floor. The slope of the floor is 5%. In these pens, each sow has about 25 square feet of space.
There's roughly anywhere from 20 to 25 sows per pen. If we put bigger sows in a pen, we will sometimes cut that down to 20 or 22. If there's smaller sows going into a pen, we can quite often take that up to 25.